This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I know I'm a little bit late to the party. Apologize, but we're here. We're ready to go. This is the game day pregame show, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Knicks take on the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee tonight at 10 p.m. A late one. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing popping. Make sure you check out thegameday.com for all of your latest sports content and news, as well as betting odds, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get this popping. I got my man Uncle Fulio in the building. Uncle Fulio, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
Salute Sim, salute the chat. Sim didn't want to tell y'all, why he was late, but today's Sim's birthday. So put some claps in the chat for Sim and his birthday today. Big up to you, my brother. Another 365 around I
appreciate that.
Sun.
On my way to 150. On my way to 150. I got 104 years to go, ladies and gentlemen. That's my goal. I'm trying to make 150. Nas said 140. I'm saying 150.
Sim said he can stood up for the Knicks right now.
Right now. Right now. They need a point guard. I got it. I can facilitate that whole thing. I can make Tom Thibodeau look like a genius out there. Anyway,
salute, man.
Appreciate it, man. Salute. I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Thank you for all the, healthy birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. Appreciate and just love being here with everybody, man. Love life. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Salute to everyone out there. This is a big game for us again. We got to be able to try to turn this thing around if we want to do anything substantial this season. If we want to make the playoffs, make a playoff push. The Knicks are still, I want to say, 3 or 4 games out of the 8th spot or something like that. So it's still in contention. I know people are not really happy about what's going on right now, but we can't lose sight of the fact that the Knicks are still playing for something. They're still contending for a playoff spot, and I think that we should continue to push that. I know there's a lot of vitriol from the fan base and everything about the way Julius Randle's been playing and these veterans and this youth movement that the fans want to see. But I think the team in the locker room still feels like they have a shot. So I want to see a competitive basketball game tonight. I don't want to see anything less than that. So
yeah, this is like a huge argument. You know what I mean? Like a big family spat. And if somehow we can get through this and end up playing good basketball, maybe we can put it to bed. I'm not sure if it's able to happen. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. But we got a game to think about tonight. So do the New York Knickerbockers. Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, Evan Fournier, Kemba Walker, all these guys. They got a basketball game to think about tonight. So hopefully they can remain focused. Let's talk about this game tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Knicks, for the most part, are healthy. Nerlens Noel, he's questionable for tonight with a left sore knee. I have no idea what is going on with Nerlens Noel and why he cannot stay healthy this season, but it's been ridiculous all season long. He's questionable for tonight. Can't say whether or not he's going to play. Derrick Rose, of course, is out. Right? And then, Ryan Arcidiacono, he's questionable. Arcidiacono, he's questionable with a left ankle sprain. And then Luka, he's in the G League. He's not going to be playing for the New York Knicks at all this season, it seems like. For the Milwaukee Bucks, they seem to be pretty much healthy as well. Rodney Hood is out. He's doubtful with right Achilles soreness. Brook Lopez continues to be out with back surgery. And Wesley Matthews is probable tonight with a left knee contusion. But for the most part, their big dogs are going to be playing tonight. You know what I'm saying? And it makes it a very, very, very tough matchup for the New York Knicks. But I'm looking for the Knicks to come out in desperation mode. That's what I want from them, Josh. They've got to come out in desperation mode, because if not, I mean, it already seems like the season is lost. But if they have any fight with them whatsoever, they've got to come out in desperation mode, like a rat up against the wall. I don't know how many of you grew up in the hood, but if you grew up in the hood, you might have come across some rats every once in a while hiding in your closet. And if you go in there with a broom, they might attack. That's what the Knicks got to do right now. You know what I'm saying? That's what they got to be like right now. Can they do that? Do they have it in them, Josh, to attack, to play desperate, to play like their life depended on it?
Well, they're going to have to, Sim. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And anything short of a good effort or a great effort performance tonight, we're going to lose the ball game. We got to be able to turn this thing around. And it's going to start with those veterans in that locker room. They hear the noise and they hear the pressure and they feel it. They've been around the league for a while, so they know what this is about. So it all starts with them. They have to bring the energy. The starting lineup has to bring the energy, start the game off strong. And I think, we can be able to pull this out. The question is, are they going to be able to do it? Some games they're able to do it, and have these first, they're playing for each other and the effort is there. And then some games it's just not there. So I know they have the capability to do it and the ability to do it. The question is, are they actually going to do it? It's just a game where they're going to be able to turn it around. So I guess we'll see. With this team, is really hard to read them and hard to see what how they're going to perform. But we got to be able to find out. That's why you play the games.
That's true. Listen, what scares me about this team is I just don't feel like they have that one person who is headstrong, like really, really headstrong, and also vocal on this team. I don't feel like guys are vocal. I feel like, there's a bunch of guys that maybe see something that's going wrong, but they're like, I'm not going to say anything. I don't want any confrontation. I feel like we got a bunch of guys like that on the team, and that's not good. You know what I mean? We need a guy that's not afraid to be vocal and get in guys' faces and things like that, especially going through a stretch like this and going through what we're about to go through with the schedule. You need one of those guys, and I just don't think we have that type of personality on the team. A Patrick Beverley type, a Marcus Morris type, a Rajon Rondo type, like those type of guys that maybe they get on your nerves, but they're needed, and I just don't see it on this team. And I think that's a big problem. Even when Derrick Rose is here and he's with the team and he's healthy, Derrick Rose is not that type of leader.
He's headstrong, but he's not vocal. He's very headstrong, but he's not vocal.
He's strong. Yeah. He's mentally tough. You know what I'm saying? Because he grew to be mentally tough. You know what I mean? You remember the first time that he was with the Knicks, he had some, a few issues, right? But he grew to be mentally tough because he's been there before. But he's not vocal. The Knicks need that vocal leader out there. And that's why I'm very skeptical about this upcoming schedule. Because I just don't know if we have those personalities to get it done. Taking a look at the starting lineups, ladies and gentlemen. Assuming that nothing changes, the New York Knicks are looking at the same starting lineup that they went into Miami with. Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. And as for the Milwaukee Bucks, Drew Holiday, Pat Connaughton, Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Bobby Portis. My question to you, Josh, do you expect, and we would probably hear something, maybe within a couple of hours if it's going to happen, but do you expect any changes in the Knicks lineup tonight?
Well, I was actually just checking my phone to see what Knicks PR is going to say, but I don't think the actual starting lineups are going to come out to probably like an hour before the game or so. I mean, a change I would say is needed. There's nothing wrong with experimenting at this point. At this point, I think the Knicks really have nothing to lose per se. But tinkering with the starting lineup. I know earlier in the season I was kind of hesitant about doing that, but now that we're much deeper into the season and we're going through the stretch of games, I think we got to be able to find something. Thibodeau has to be able to find something to be able to get out the starting lineup so we can be able to start the game stronger, and set us up for a better chance of success. So I'm going to hope so. I'm going to hope that there is some sort of lineup change. But at this point, I just don't know. Tibbs doesn't have the track record of doing something like this, at this point.
Right. That's the thing. He doesn't have that kind of a track record. I don't know. It's hard to say what, if Tom Thibodeau would make that kind of a move. I don't think he will right now. I think he's still trusting the guys that he's putting out there, and according to Jeff Van Gundy and probably a lot of people, that's maybe a cause for insanity, you know what I mean? But I think he's trusting who he's putting out there. And if anything, maybe we see a shorter leash.
Sam, I do want to highlight the fact. So the last two games we played against the Milwaukee Bucks, we lost both games, but the scores were pretty much the same: 112 to 100, 112 to 98. Right, so everything was pretty much the same. And one of those games, Milwaukee shot 52% from 3-point range. Right, 52%. The other game, they shot around 35% or so. Right. But to me, the difference in those games and the difference from the first game that we played against Milwaukee in the regular season, we lost the rebounding battle. Right, we lost the rebounding battle by 10 to 12 rebounds in both of those games. Right, in the first game that we played, we shot 25% from 3-point range and we won the game by 12 points, and that's because we out-rebounded them by 22, plus 22 on the glass in that first game. So, to your point about toughness, I think the Knicks have to be tough tonight. Randle has to rebound, Mitch has to rebound, RJ has to rebound, and we got to be able to get those opportunities down there and just be tough with Milwaukee. And I think that's going to be one of the keys to the game. I know you're going to talk about that later, but for me, that's one thing to get off my chest.
All right. Well, let's look at these matchups and then go on from there. All right. We'll start with Kemba Walker and Jrue Holiday. First of all, Jrue Holiday is a very, very good defender, which is going to make it tough for Kemba Walker because, Kemba Walker is not blowing past anybody. So in order for Kemba Walker to get free, he's got to come off screens. And I think the Milwaukee Bucks do a good job switching and talking and figuring out how to cover that screening role. Not to mention, the Knicks don't do a good job of setting screens. And when I say that, I'm not just talking about the screener, because that's what everybody wants to do. They want to blame Mitchell Robinson for not setting a good screen. It's not just the screener. The ball handler as well has to, one, bring his defender to the screen, and then two, make sure the timing is correct, because if you go too early, you may force an offensive foul on the ball screener. Right, so it's a two-way street right there. The ball handler and the screener got to be on point together. You know what I mean? So it's not just the screener that's not setting good screens. The ball handler, the person running off the screens, they got to do their job as well. I don't think either one of our guys, the ball handlers or the screeners, do a good job of making sure those screens are effective. And someone like Jrue Holiday is going to step right over those screens. I don't think he's going to go under the screen. And as a matter of fact, if I was defending against Kemba Walker, if I was an opposing coach and I was strategizing against Kemba Walker, I would tell everyone, go over the screen. See if he's going to get to the basket. See if he can get inside and score. Because right now, Kemba Walker can knock down a three, shooting it from like 40%. But if you go over the screen, that's going to force him to penetrate. I'm not seeing the burst. And when he does get inside, he's so small, he's having problems passing it out. A lot of times those pass outs, when he does get inside, gets picked off. You know what I'm saying? So if I was defending Kemba Walker, that's what I'd say. Go over the screen. Don't go over it because he might knock down the three. Go over the screen, force him to penetrate, and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? See if he can create off that penetration. If he is able to create off that penetration, then I'll do something else. Then we'll do something else. But that would be my strategy against him. And I think a lot of teams take that strategy against him. You know what I mean? I don't know. I see Jrue Holiday winning this matchup. I don't see it being a good matchup for Kemba Walker tonight. You know, it's a tough one for him, for me.
Yeah, Sam. I mean, I agree with you. I think most matchups against Kemba Walker are not good for us. Kemba Walker just hasn't been we thought he was going to be. It was going to be this season. And again, going up against a player like Jrue Holiday, who's very smart, who's going to be a really good defender, who's going to be able to knock down offensive shots in the mid range, and be able to grab rebounds because he can also do that as well. It's going to be a tough task. So I agree with you. Kemba Walker has to be on his A game tonight, and if Tibbs sees that Kemba is not on his A game early on, pull him early. Let's get some Alec Burks in there or Emmanuel Quickly or somebody else in there to try to help us out.
Yeah. And then we got Evan Fournier and Pat Connaughton. Listen, this dude, Pat Connaughton, man, every time we play the Bucks, he bothers us. You know what I mean? He knocks down, the dude can just knock down threes with ease. And teams are coming into games using the Knicks' own strategy against them. And no one can tell me that, hey, these other teams are just letting the game come to them and they're doing what the game tells them, like Tom Thibodeau always says. I don't believe that at all. They're coming into the game saying they're going to let you shoot the three. Be prepared to shoot the three. And we are going to seek the three-point shot because we know that they're going to let us shoot it. I'm telling you, I believe that teams are coming in with that strategy. Pat Connaughton, so far this season, against the New York Knicks, is shooting 38.5% from the three-point line. All right, he's averaging 3.5 threes per game, made threes per game versus the Knicks. 12.7 points per game. He's shooting 46.7% from the field against the Knicks so far this season. Hey, listen, you know, basketball's a team game. It's no doubt about it. And if somebody messes up on their defensive rotations, then we've got to be able to cover for that person. You know what I mean? But for the most part, still, you've got to defend your man, and you have to take responsibility for your man. Evan Fournier. The Knicks need Evan Fournier to, if he's not going to be able to defend Pat Connaughton and stop him from dropping those 13 points and those 3.5, 4 threes per game, then he's got to score. And in 3 games versus the Milwaukee Bucks, Evan Fournier is averaging 5 points per game. 5, Josh. Shooting 12.5% from the three-point line. Shooting 25% from the field against the Milwaukee Bucks. We got to get a better performance tonight from Evan Fournier against this team. He can't come out and score 5 points. In 3 games, 5 points. It's what he's averaging.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's what he's averaging. He's averaging 5 points per game. 5 points per game versus the Bucks. That means he's only scored 15 points throughout the entire series against the Bucks. He's only scored 15 points. Can't do it.
Sam, because of Milwaukee, because of what Milwaukee does, they use Giannis for everything, right? Giannis, forces teams to kind of create that wall. And I think that's the best way to defend Giannis. We've seen it in pretty much all 3 of the games that we played Milwaukee this season. The difference was in that first game, we were able to close out on shooters much better, right? But the past 2 games, we obviously didn't do that, especially when they shot 52% from three-point range. So Fournier, I think, it's going to start with our defense. Honestly, at this point with Fournier, I just think Thibodeau is really prioritizing defense at this point to try to give us some sort of identity. And I expect to see Quentin Grimes early in this game. I expect Quentin Grimes to get 22 to 25 minutes tonight, to be honest with you, because of that defense that we know he can play. You can put Quentin Grimes on a Holiday or on a Pat Connaughton to be able to try to stop him and close out on these shooters. The only thing that I would say about that is Grimes just has to, he's a little bit antsy sometimes, like the foul on 3-pointers and jump shots. So as long as he can clean that up, but I'm not expecting Fournier to be able to defend these guys. I've seen enough from Fournier defensively to tell me that, he's going to get a quick hook if he's not playing any defense. I think Grimes will get a lot of time tonight. So I'm looking forward to that more than Fournier, to be honest with you.
And I'd also like to back up for a second and say Kemba Walker in 2 games versus the Milwaukee Bucks, he's averaging 3.5 points per game. 3.5 points per game versus the Milwaukee Bucks. That's our starting point guard, and that's our starting shooting guard versus this team. This got to be... Come on, man. Oh, come on.
But Tim, to me, I think, obviously we know they're not shooting that great this season, right? But again, I think that's all because of the defense and because of what Milwaukee does offensively. They want to kick out the shooters and, to be able to knock those shots down, and those guys are not good defenders. So I'm interested to see how many minutes they're playing against the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm assuming it's not that much relative to what they play, throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the big thing with those two, like just the lack of defense. So I'm not expecting it to get better tonight. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I'm going to skip over the next 2. I'll come back to R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle. Let's talk about Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson and Bobby Portis, right? Obviously, they used to be teammates. So Mitchell Robinson, probably knows some of Bobby Portis' tendencies, although Bobby Portis has played well against the New York Knicks, right? And Bobby Portis he does that, plays well against his former teams. We don't want that to happen tonight. How does Mitchell Robinson guard Bobby Portis? He's averaging 14 points per game against the Knicks. He's shooting 46.2% from the three-point line. He's shooting 47% from the field against the New York Knicks. And he's averaging 8 rebounds a game against the New York Knicks. What can Mitchell Robinson do to deal with Bobby Portis?
Well, I'm looking at Bobby Portis, and what he can do on the floor. Bobby Portis is not a guy that's going to roll to the basket off of pick and rolls, right? He's going to, take that jump shot that's there for him. He's going to be able to, to knock that down. He's been really good with that this season. And Mitchell has struggled with that, conversely, right? So I just think Mitchell Robinson has to do a good job of defending the pick and roll, defending, stepping out on Bobby Portis when he has that jump shot, so he doesn't have really any open looks. However, we're going to be, kind of compromised because you take Mitchell Robinson out the paint, then we kind of lose our paint advantage at that point. So Mitchell Robinson just has to do a good job of getting out there, defending the pick and roll well. Hopefully the Knicks are able to hedge pick and roll. Well, not hedge. I don't want to do that because I think that's going to leave an open spot for Portis. But Mitchell just has to be able to step out without fouling out in space and being able to guard Portis, and that's going to be his task tonight. Big task for him to do.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Bobby Portis on the season is averaging 15 points a game and 9 rebounds a game. He's having a really, really nice season for the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, Brook Lopez is out, but he's filling in nicely for Brook Lopez.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think, Mitchell Robinson, I agree. He's got to defend that pick and roll well. It's not just him. Whoever else is in that pick and roll with him, Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, R.J. Barrett, these guys got to be able to defend that screen and roll too, right? The Knicks got to get their calls together. And are we switching? Are we going to stick with our man? Like, how are we handling the screen and roll to make sure that they are not able to take advantage of it? Most times it seems like we switch, but I don't feel good with Mitchell Robinson out there on Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday. Pat Connaughton, I don't know. I don't want him out there on those guys. But
Then we do a bet.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we do a better job of switching with that second unit than we do the first unit, because the second unit has more switchable guys that can be able to defend a little bit multiple positions, right? That first unit, like once you put Fournier is going to be easily in a compromised position, Kemba in a compromised position, Mitch in a compromised position. Randle and RJ are the only two I feel like that can be able to switch, probably the most effective in that starting lineup. So I like the switching technique. I just think that we got to be able to employ it with that second unit a little bit. So that's why I'm kind of lobbying for the Knicks to go with the second unit, like kind of early in this game, particularly if the starting unit doesn't get off to a good start, allowing those 3-pointers and allowing, not to fit in the pick and roll well and things of that nature. I think that's going to be probably our best chance to win this ball game tonight.
Yeah, and listen, I don't mind teams when they switch. The problem with switching for me is that it allows teams to create the matchup that they want. You know what I'm saying? So if you want Evan Fournier to guard Giannis, then you use Pat Connaughton to set a screen on Julius Randle. The Knicks switch, there you go. Evan Fournier is now guarding Giannis. You know what I'm saying? So I think the switch is good when you have strong defenders all the way around. If you don't have strong defenders all the way around, you might be setting yourself up for failure. And I think the Knicks get in trouble with this sometimes. I forgot who we were playing. I can't remember who it was. It was the Boston Celtics. And they created a switch to get Jason Tatum guarded by Evan Fournier on every single possession. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the switch becomes a problem with me sometimes. You got to have defenders all the way around, to be able to switch, in my opinion, to consistently switch and still be a strong defensive team. You know what I mean? But the Knicks still, they switch. They do switch. I think it's easier for them to switch because I think earlier in the season they weren't doing as much switching and they were getting caught up in some of these screen and roll situations. All right. The Thrive Fantasy matchup of the night, ladies and gentlemen. R.J. Barrett and Chris Middleton against the Milwaukee Bucks. R.J. Barrett, he's averaging 14.5 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, shooting 38% from the field, 30% from 3, and only 67% from the free throw line. Kevin Middleton, he's played 1 game against the Knicks. He had 24 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He shot 47% from the field and 36% from the three-point line, and he was 4 for 4 from the free throw line. R.J. Barrett's playing a much different role now. You know what I'm saying? And the way that he's attacking the game now is much different. So I don't expect R.J. to only have 14.5 points tonight. I think he's going to have more points than that. You know what I'm saying? What's your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I expect RJ to have more too. He's been much more aggressive as of late. I don't know why some people can't see that, but we're definitely going to need RJ Barrett to continue that aggressiveness. I think he's been playing really well over the past couple of weeks or so. I think he'll continue that tonight. To kind of taking that next step and being more consistent with his aggressiveness. I do think Middleton is a tough cover though. We already know what Middleton can do in the mid range. He is a mid range killer, assassin. So that's where he's going to try to look to get his shots off. We know he can be able to handle the ball slightly. So it's going to be a tough matchup for RJ Barrett, no doubt. But, and like you said, this next gauntlet of games that we got going on, RJ Barrett's going to need to step it up defensively as well, because there's some good wings that we're going to have to play, in his next 10 games or so. And I think that, a part of his growth as a player is defending some of these guys on a more consistent basis. I think, RJ Barrett can be able to do that. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the matchup. Listen, R.J. Barrett's he's going to have to be on point defensively. Chris Middleton, not only can he shoot, but he can also slash. And he has a good basketball IQ. He knows where to go to get open. He understands how to find open spots on the floor. R.J. Barrett, in his 3 years with the Knicks, and he's young, he's 21 years old. We all know he's growing. But he's shown the tendency to allow guys to cut back door or cut in front of him, or have his head turned looking at the ball and not seeing where his guy is cutting. Chris Middleton is the type of guy that can take advantage of that. I think RJ's learning because he plays against these guys, so he's learning. We can't afford to have any relapses tonight, right? The Knicks need him to be on point defensively. The next Thrive Fantasy matchup of the night, ladies and gentlemen, is Julius Randle and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I know people don't want to hear Julius Randle's name. They're mad at him, right? Everybody's mad at him. I get it. I understand. It's still, he's on the team. He's playing basketball. This is an important matchup tonight. Julius Randle against the Milwaukee Bucks, 18.7 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting 41.3% from the field and 33.3% from the three-point line. He's averaging 68%, 69% from the free throw line. Giannis against the Knicks, 20 points per game, 10.7 rebounds a game, 7.7 assists per game, shooting 39.6% from the field. He's shooting 28.6% from three and 78.3% from the free throw line. The Knicks can be effective against Giannis.
Yeah.
The problem is they're not effective against the three-point shooters.
Right.
Right, so they create this wall, and then, boom, they're leaving these three-point shooters open. Right, and they don't close out strong enough or fast enough to stop these guys from being able to knock down shots. And so instead of getting beat by Giannis, they get beat by the other guys and allow Giannis to get 8, 9, 10 assists. Another reason why I think the Knicks match up well against Giannis is not Julius Randle per se, but Mitchell Robinson does a good job against Giannis. And so does Nerlens Noel. I don't think Nerlens Noel is going to play tonight, but these two guys do a good job against Giannis. You're not stopping Giannis. You're not going to shut him down or nothing like that. Yeah. But they do a decent job, and you see what he's shooting against the Knicks. The problem is the Knicks allow the other guys to get off.
Yes, Sam, Giannis is averaging, 29 points per game this season. So I think, and, the rebounds are going to be there. Giannis is a big guy or whatever, but Giannis is averaging 29 points per game. 20 points against Giannis is a pretty solid number, in my opinion. But like you said, we got to be able to close out the shooters because Giannis, we create that wall for him and he draws so much attention that ball gets swung around. And next thing you know, these guys are going to be open from three. So I kind of like the way we defend Giannis. I think the only thing that we need to tweak is just being able to close out on those shooters, being able to defend the pick and roll a little bit better. Giannis can also step back and shoot the three. He's got way better with a three-point shot and shooting the basketball overall from the outside this season than last season. So it's going to be a tough matchup, no doubt. I want the Knicks to continue what they've been doing with Giannis over the past 3 games. I think that's very effective. We just got to be able to do the other part and close out on those shooters.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Thrive Fantasy matchups of the night. Go to thrivefantasy.com. The link is in the description of this video. And if you make a deposit, they will match 100% up to $100. You got player props. You got over, under. Go check out thrivefantasy.com, ladies and gentlemen. I am sure that you will enjoy yourself if that's your type of thing. The link is in the description of this video. Use the code NBK. Looking at these two teams and the way that they've matched up so far this season, the Bucks lead the series 2-1. They average 107.3 points per game against the Knicks, 44 rebounds, 25 assists, 6.7 steals, 3.3 blocks, 15 turnovers. They're shooting 44% from the field and 41% or 42% from the three-point line. For the Knicks, they average 103.3 points per game versus the Bucks, grabbing 44.7 rebounds, 20.7 assists, 11 steals, 5.3 blocks, turning the ball over 14 times, but they're only shooting 43% from the field and 34% from the three-point line and shooting 77% from the free throw line. All of those numbers, all of those shooting numbers are going to have to be better. They want to have a chance to reclaim their season beginning tonight. They want to have that chance. They're going to have to shoot the ball well. And the thing is, look, they're going to have to shoot the ball well, and they're going to have to close out well on the defensive side. Because if both teams are shooting the ball well, I don't feel like the Knicks can outshoot the Bucks. At some point, the Knicks are going to hit a stretch where they don't score. They hit it every game. They're going to hit a stretch where they don't score. And the Bucks, if they're shooting the ball well, they're going to continue to score. You know what I'm saying? This is definitely a tough matchup for the New York Knicks, and it's a critical game, which is the reason why it's scary for everybody. You know what I mean? Because it's such a critical game.
Yeah, but Sam, I mean, listen, this is why you play the games, like I mentioned earlier, right? I know fans are just not happy right now, and they'd rather see the team go in a different direction. And, they don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it for them. They want to see the team tank, so we can get these kids playing time or what have you. But, these guys in the locker room are not thinking that. They're not having a sense of tanking. They want to go out and play well. So we just got to, let the game play itself out and see how the Knicks are going to be able to perform tonight. I think if we can hold Milwaukee to about, 32% from the 3-point line and around 35% from the field, I think we can win this ball game. We just got to play great defense, close out, force them to miss some shots, and I'm going to try to get out of transition a little bit more. We've been seeing the second unit, getting the transition when they're out there, off turnovers or what have you. But I'm going to say if the starting unit can be able to just grab a rebound and push the ball off the floor and just try to get to the paint early on in the game, try to draw some fouls, get to the free throw line, and for God's sake, make the free throws. Our free throw shooting has been abysmal this season, absolutely dreadful. So we got to be able to knock those free throw shots down, particularly if the refs are going to be able to give us some calls and a little bit of calls that we have been getting. So that's what I want to see from the Knicks tonight. Knock those free throws down if you get to the line.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the Game Day pregame show. For all of your most up-to-date sports content and betting odds, make sure you go to thegameday.com. The link is in the description of the video. You can get your betting odds from Caesars, from FanDuel, from DraftKings, from all of them, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever your favorite betting platform is, BetMGM, whatever it is, it's there on the Game Day. So make sure you check out thegameday.com. Before we get to some other people, I want to talk about my keys to the game tonight. Number one, start strong and play with desperation. We haven't seen that desperate play from the New York Knicks. It is time that we see it. And when the team is playing desperate. You can feel the intensity when they step on the floor. And you can see it in the way that they're playing. This is the time for the New York Knicks to play with desperation. They have to do it. If they want to make anything out of the remainder of this season, they've got to play with desperation. Strong starts to the game and then play the remainder of the game with desperation. Execution. We've been doing a poor job. I guess it's been all season long that we've been doing a poor job executing. But we need to execute. Figure out what we're doing and execute it, ladies and gentlemen. Run them off the line. We just talked about this not too long ago. The Knicks are going to create a wall, and the Milwaukee Bucks are going to have open threes. At least that's what's happened in the past. The Knicks are going to have to run them off the line. If they're going to create this wall, they've got to get out to the three-point shooters. Make them have to take 2 or 3 passes before they get that three-point shot. Don't let Giannis just penetrate into the wall and kick it out. And someone get a wide open shot. Pat Connaughton, Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis.
Grayson Allen, Jordan Nwora.
Right. You know what I'm saying? We've got to get out to those shooters. Leave on the flight of the ball. Don't wait until the ball is halfway to that person and shake your head like, oh, snap, I got to get out there. No. As soon as you see the ball leave the offensive player's hands, get out there. I tell my players all the time, Josh, because I stress leaving on the flight of the ball. It is so important, and I don't think people really realize how important it is. They complain that players don't close out and, are not trying to close out hard. And a lot of times, the reason why it seems like this guy isn't closing out is because it doesn't trigger them to close out until they see the ball halfway through the air or that player caught the ball. The player caught the ball. Now they're like, oh, I got to get out there, and it's too late. You know what I'm saying? You've got to see when that ball leaves. Because I tell my players all the time, unless they have a magic ball, once the ball leaves that player's hands, it's not going anyplace else but to the intended target. It's not going to take a U-turn in the air and come back to that player. It's not going to take a left turn or a right turn. I can promise you that. It's going to go right there. So if you leave on the flight of the ball, you have a good chance of meeting the ball at the person you're defending. You've got to run them off the line, ladies and gentlemen. Play with pace. And this doesn't mean just running up and down the floor, jacking up shots. It means when we're in a half-court set, keeping the ball moving like a hot potato. That's going to make the defense shift. Especially if a team is playing some zone. It's going to make the defense shift. It's going to make guys move. If Julius Randle has the ball before he sees that double team really collapse on him, get it out of his hand. That's what's going to make it shit. Boom, boom, boom. Can't over dribble. We don't need guys standing out there on the perimeter dribbling the ball for 20 seconds. You know, people always say, you know, when you have someone dribbling the basketball, I hear a lot of people say, well, they're dribbling the ball, but guys got to cut too. The issue is, I'll go back. You know, I know people probably get tired of hearing it, but I always tell my player, the person with the basketball is the drum beat, right? When you listen to a song, there's a drum beat, right? The drum beat keeps the rhythm. The person with the basketball is the drum beat on a basketball team. Everything moves in accordance with that person now. So once you have the basketball, your decision dictates everything else. So if you hold the ball too long, everyone's standing to see what you are going to do. But if you move it, now that initiates somebody else to cut or somebody else to make a play. You know what I'm saying? Because everything is initiated off of the way the ball moves. You know what I'm saying? When you penetrate to the basket, players are told to cut in a certain area, into a certain area, you know, depending on the coach's system. You know what I'm saying? If you dribble to the side, if I dribble towards you, Josh, your job is to cut away from me. You know what I'm saying? Everything is dependent upon the basketball. So if you over dribble, people are going to watch. People are going to watch because they don't know what you're going to do. And then, like you said earlier, Josh, make free throws. Got to make free throws, man. You're going to win basketball games, you got to make free throws. We've lost a few games over the last couple of weeks, at least 2, because we didn't make free throws. Right? That was a big part of it. That could change the way that we look right now. Right now, we're 23-26. Win 2 games by making free throws, we're 25 and 24. Big difference already. Big difference.
I agree, Sam. The free throws are free for a reason, right? You know, and the Knicks are complaining about fouls. Randle was complaining about fouls. Sarge got a technical because the refs weren't calling fouls. And then when we get to the free throw line, we just don't be not able to knock them down. I mean, even Kemba Walker's been missing free throws, and Evan Fournier, like guys that are supposed to be much better shooters, they're just not knocking them down from the line. I don't know what it is, but we got to be able to do better. We have to be able to do better. I don't know if they need to go work out with Emmanuel quickly at the free throw line because he's one of the best free throw shooters in the NBA. We have that guy on our team, and our free throw shooting is still so poor. So you know that's just you can't do anything about that. To me, you really can't coach that. Besides making them just take 100 free throws at every practice. In the NBA, I don't think that's feasible, right? Oftentimes, you hear players themselves staying after games. And stand late in practices to knock those free throws down. There's nothing Tibbs can do about that. They don't send Tom Thibodeau to the free throw line. That's all on the players, in that locker room and taking it upon themselves to be able to do that. So, you can't blame nobody else but the players themselves for the lack of free throws. And, hopefully it gets better because we're going to need it.
Yeah, no doubt about that, man. We are definitely going to need it. We see we got a couple of new characters in the house. I want to get your take on this game. You probably heard us just break the entire thing down. I'm going to get your thoughts on it. Ron, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm okay. Dealing with a little slight headache, but other than that, we straight. What's up, Josh? Mark, Hold on one second. All right, I'm good. Nate, I apologize. And happy birthday to my man, Simeon Russell.
You,
know what I mean?
I appreciate it. You know, the big 4'6". You know, the big 4'6".
Oh, my bad. I thought you was 26, brother. You know what I mean? Okay. All right.
Hey,
Yeah, man.
I don't think I'd go back to 26 anyway. So you know, I'm good where I am, man. Working my way up to 150. I got 104 years to go.
There you go.
Working my way. That's the goal. That's the goal here. Nate, what's going on, man?
How's it going, man? How y'all doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How
Happy
you feeling
birthday.
today? Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. How you feeling today, man?
Good. I think we're gonna lose really bad, but you know, hey, you never know what can happen.
I mean, hey, listen, you never know what could happen. You know, this Knicks team throughout this season and even last season, when we looked like we were done, they came out with a big win or strung together a couple of wins. See if we can do it tonight. I don't know. You know, right now we're really, really down. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, let's see what we can do tonight. Mark, what's going on, man? Can't hear you, my brother. We can't hear you.
You hear me now?
I can hear you now.
If you're looking for a birthday gift from the Knicks, man, I think you need to, you know, not worry about that because you ain't getting that tonight.
Hey, not. Hey, trust me. Actually, I didn't get a birthday gift from the Knicks, but I did get one of those city jerseys, though. So, you know, pretty proud of that. You know, I got an Obi Toppin City jersey, so I'm pretty proud of that.
Not bad. That's a good jersey. That's a good jersey. But I'm all right, man. Chilling.
Yeah.
You know,
so, Ron, man, what's your takes on this game tonight? How you feeling? You know, what do we got to do? We just talked about, we broke down the keys of the game. What do we got to do to be competitive in this game and give ourselves a chance to win?
Well, honestly, I think that what they need to do is not something they're probably going to do, but I would love for them to say, tonight we're going to play the best players that can help us win the game, no matter who it is. I think that's the only way they have a chance to win the game. You got to say, I'm going to experiment. I'm going to play with 10 guys instead of my usual 8 to 9, whatever it is. And I'm just going to see who has a hot hand. Because at this point, I don't think it doesn't matter who, no egos, whoever's out there on the court. If you're not playing right, you just got to sit. And I got to get somebody else who can get me some baskets, play some good defense. So if that means Cam Reddish got to be out there, if that means Quentin Grimes, if Deuce McBride comes out there and has the game of his night in the first 5 minutes or whatever, you know, you got to play everybody until you find a formula for success. Because right now, they're starting to become a laughingstock. The stuff that's happening on the court and off the court, now you're in the media, you got to kind of kill all of that by playing good basketball, because that's the bottom line. That's all that the fans care about. That's all that I think the administration cares about. And Tibbs wants to win too. So let's cut out the BS, forget the rotation numbers for Kemba and Randle and all these other people. Go out there and play whoever is giving me some production and stay with that. Take them out, bring in somebody else. If you bring in somebody else off the bench to spell somebody minutes and they're not playing right, well, then they got to sit and you bring somebody else in. It just X's and O's, smart basketball.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%, man. You know, you know what the hard thing is for Tibbs, Ron, you know, when you talk about that is he had success doing it one way, right? So part of the reason that he had success with the Knicks last year was that he brought structure to the team, right? And part of his structure is allowing the players to know and understand when they're going to be in the game. And not, listen, guys that didn't play, they knew that they weren't going to play. Guys that got 35 minutes, 40 minutes, they knew exactly the amount of minutes that they were going to get. Obviously, it's going to fluctuate a little bit, but they knew the amount of minutes that they were going to get. They knew when they were coming in. They knew when they were coming out, right? And I think he looked at it and said, with this team here, this is what I have to do. And I just don't know that he's in the mindset to adjust that style of setting his rotations. I just don't think he's in the mindset of doing that. I feel like, whether or not people like it, and I'm not saying it's right. All I'm saying is, he's won basketball games by doing it. If the Knicks go on to have a losing season this year, this will be the second or third of his career where he's had a losing season. Every other season has, been winning seasons. So in his mind, he's probably like, I've had success doing this. I'm going to do it the way that I do it because I've had success. It may not be championship success, but he's had success. And it makes it tough. Doesn't mean that it's right. Doesn't mean that he shouldn't change or try something new because, when you try something new, sometimes you figure out some things that you didn't figure out before. You know what I mean? I just think it's hard for him. I think it's hard for him to do it. I think it's really, really hard for him to do it.
Well, you know what? I will tell you one thing. If he don't do it, then we're going to get him up out of here. And I don't mean me personally, but I am a fan. So I'm going to say Knicks fans will get him up out of here. Josh, I know you shaking your head, but you know how Knicks fans are. And if he don't do what he got to do for this team, they're going to point the finger at Tibbs because coach is always the scapegoat, and they're going to get him up out of here, bro.
Go ahead, Josh. What'd you say? You're muted. You're muted.
But is that the right thing to do? But that's my point. Like, the guy's only been here for a season and a half, right? And the first season, he got us to where we didn't expect we were going to be, right? And then now during this season, just because things aren't at that same level, that we're just so quick to fire people and just want to fire everybody and trade everybody. Like, I think there needs to be a little bit of patience with this entire process. Like, no one thought the Knicks were going to be championship contenders, right? I know people want the Knicks to play hard. I'm not saying, there's any excuses for that. Definitely they need to play better and play hard, right? But I mean, I just think, firing everybody and talking about doing this and doing that after just a season and a half, to me, I just think that is asinine in my opinion, right? And, I get the frustrations. The team definitely has to play better, but there's better ways for us, other ways for us to get better and to voice our frustrations without talking about firing everybody. Thibodeau bought us, our first playoff season in the last 7 years. Like, what other coach was able to get this amount of success from that roster last season? So I just think that the fans just need to exercise a little bit of patience, understand that there's a process with this whole thing. Give it like 3 seasons before make a real evaluation about what's going on. But after a season and a half where it's mostly been good, I just don't understand the whole fire Tibbs narrative and fire the front office narrative when, to me, they've been more good than they have been bad, in my opinion. I just think we're living in right now, and we tend to want to change everything and start over and reset, after too early. Give it some time. Let it play itself out before we talk about firing Thibodeau. That's my opinion.
Well, I will tell you this, Josh. This, I'll let other people speak. Problem with this whole mix is the fact that it hasn't been done right. The Knicks didn't make a concerted effort to say we're going to build a Thibodeau team, and then if anything don't work, it's on Thibodeau. No, what they did is they mixed and matched. And now you got halfway. And you got to make a direction and say either we're going to build the whole team around what Thibodeau wants, or we're going to build the whole team around what we envision, and Thibodeau's got to acquiesce. And if he doesn't, then we got to find another coach. But now we in the middle, so we got some players that play one way and other players that play another way, and that's why we're dysfunctional. We don't look like we know what we're doing out there because we don't have whatever identity we thought we had is gone. I don't know what we are right now.
Yeah, I'm going to come back. I want to come back to that, Ron, because I do have a question that I want to ask as it pertains to that there. But I want to get Nate and Mark's keys to the Knicks having a chance tonight, and then I want to come back to that. Nate?
For me, the Bucks are one of those teams where it's like pick your poison. Like, you either let Giannis cook inside, or he's going to kick it out to the shooters to shoot threes all day. Personally, if I'm a coach, I'd rather keep the ball in Giannis's hands, only because he's not really that good of a shooter. And Mitch has played good defense on Giannis in the past. If you don't get on those shooters, they are going to kill us early on, period. Because the Knicks are just not, like you said, Sim, Knicks get into shooting slumps and, we'll go lulls for like 4 or 5 minutes without scoring. And in those 4 or 5 minutes, I guarantee you the Bucks will score about 10 to 15 points. because they just have really good shooters. Yeah. So I would try to keep the ball in Giannis's hands and just make him earn every shot he's got rather than making him a passer, because one thing about Giannis is so crafty about getting so deep in the paint that it makes it so hard for the Knicks to commit to the shooters because they want to stop Giannis. And I agree, you have to move at the flight of the ball, but Giannis takes it so deep in the paint that it's literally going to be a dunk or it's going to be a late pass, and by that time it's already an open shooter and they don't rotate out, and it's a bucket. Yeah. And you know, the thing with the Knicks for me, and I'm just going to chime in real quick and then I'll let Mark talk. I think the reason why people are talking about why Tibbs should be gone is because you look at the effort on the court. And when the players don't play hard, that's a sign of something with the coach. And I really feel that, like, listen, I'm a Lions fan. Our team has won 3 games all year, but they have played with more heart than I have seen the Knicks play all year for their coach. And I don't know if this team is playing for Tibbs. And I feel like they checked out or they're checking out or there's issues inside the locker room. I don't know. But you can just see it on the court. They're not playing hard. And Tibbs teams in the past, especially with the Bulls, have always played hard for that coach. They would give it all they got on the court. And I don't see that with the Knicks team this year. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on, what beefs they're having inside the locker room between players, coaches, whatever. But whatever it is, Tibbs has got to stop it. He's got to start pulling people when they're not doing things. Like Randle, Evan, if they're not playing defense or they're not scoring, pull them out of the game. Got to put in some other players if they're not giving the effort and heart. And that's one thing I worry about with Tibbs.
But Nate, but that's the thing though. There's some games where the Knicks play hard, but they just can't win because they're not better than the other team that they're playing. The effort thing has not been a consistent thing throughout the entire season. And
lately, it seems that way, man. It really does.
But that's lately. That's the past few games or what have you, right? But I don't think that's an every game thing. I think the Knicks do play hard. I just think that their team construction is not better than the opposing.
But let me ask you this, Josh.
Hold on. Okay. We said in the beginning of the season how much the East got better, right?
True.
And it's showing based on the teams that we're playing and how they're playing. And if you look at the standings, so I just think that, you know, the team construction is not where it needs to be, right? But I think the team is still playing hard for Tibbs for the most part. There's some games where we get blown out. The Denver game where we got blown out, you know, in other games as well, the game against Charlotte. But I don't think it's an effort thing. Now, if you want to point to Julius Randle and talk about his effort as a singular player, I can't defend that.
Josh,
right?
I'm pointing
at the team as a whole. Okay, go ahead.
I'm pointing at everybody on this team because if you look at the stats all the way across the board, everybody is bad than they were before.
But that's not effort.
That doesn't necessarily mean effort. It doesn't necessarily.
But if the whole team is bad.
But it doesn't mean effort. You know, you can. I mean, there are some singular players that maybe are not having the effort, but it doesn't mean that everybody on the team is not having effort just because their play is not good or they're not shooting as well. But let me get to Mark. Because I want to know, you know, if he has any thoughts on what the Knicks could do to give themselves a chance tonight.
Execution, that's it. Like for me, like this team don't execute at times when they're supposed to execute, meaning taking shots when it's given to you, pass the ball more, you know, crash on the rebounds. I don't like sometimes when it's just Mitch down there by himself or whoever's down there by himself. I think the team needs to learn how to crash together. I think, again, we have 2 different teams. We have the bench and then we have the starters. I've never seen in an NBA season that the bench is really plays much better and play with more force at times than the starters. That don't happen in the NBA. That don't happen. People talk about the Knicks bench more than the starters. That's kind of crazy to me. But other than that, it's when I hear Tibbs, it's execution, man. This team do not execute properly. You have guys, again, with the starting lineup. It starts with them. They have to set the tempo. They don't execute in screening. They don't execute in spacing. People are in front of everybody.
The spacing is terrible. The spacing is just, it's hard it's hard for me to understand because, you know, you added Kemba and Fournier, and you thought that the spacing was going to get better because you figured that they understood things a little bit more, and the spacing is worse. It's bad. Part of it, though, is because none of them are shooting really well from the field. So then what happens is teams can lay off. I will let you shoot the three because I know you're only shooting 28%. So I'll let you shoot the three. And when you got Kemba who's really knocking it down. Early in the season, RJ wasn't hitting his shot. He's starting to hit his shot. Evan Fournier wasn't hitting his shot early in the season. So teams are like, you know what? I'm going to play the passing lanes. So now I can cut off your penetration, and I'm going to dare you to shoot the ball. And if you're not hitting it, the spacing gets worse because you're not hitting that shot.
And, you know, when you're watching every game and how these teams game planning for us, you know, all teams are doing is just doubling up on Randle and just not waiting for him to pass. Like, he is actually, like, it's like preschool when he has the ball in his hand and wanting to get rid of it when the double is coming towards you. When you see, I don't care if,
there's also a difference. The teams know that he's not good at reading these double teams.
There we go.
But listen, they're really not always sending the double team coming right at him. The double teams come from different.
It's in his facility. It's in what a team is going to show. Most teams show that they might throw a double team, but they're always going to show. But it's up to the player. It's up to the player to dissect what that defense wants to do.
But teams know that he struggles in that area. And so to confuse him even more, though, they allow him to put the ball on the floor and then send a double team. Because even a player who is really good at detecting double teams, once they put the ball on the floor and make a move to the basket, even they have trouble figuring out, okay, where'd that double team come from, right? So I can get the ball to the right person. A lot of times, not all the time, but like Miami, they took him out because as soon as he put the ball on the floor and made a move to the basket, you had somebody coming from somewhere. And now he had to try to detect who did it come from. And he can't. He doesn't see the defense that quick. He doesn't read it that quick.
It's like when you touch him up, like I just feel like when you get physical with him, he's just out there. Like, and when he's just out there, it messes up the whole offense. Because again, we come into this season, and I said to him, I have incredible foresight. So everything that's appearing right now, it's actually happening. So with him, I don't even ask for all-star Julius Randle. I just asked for him to read the game a little better, because I swear to you, if he reads the game a little much better, this team will be a little much better in what the starting lineup wants to do. When Fournier, like, I know people don't like him, but he's exposing Tibbs every night. He's saying this. We have to switch up what we're doing, and the Knicks are just ramming the same thing over and over and over and over again. So again, we see what they put out. So it's just like, I can't even, sometimes it's even hard to watch these games because you see the same things happening over and over. And I'm like, you're a basketball player. Your job is to read and react at times because things are going to go different. You have to have the brain upstairs if you're going to handle the ball. His what do you call it when his player efficiency? It is high. If it's going to be that high, you have to be able to make smart plays.
You mean his usage? His usage, not efficiency. His usage.
I don't want the ball in your hand.
Yeah. So
that's what's happening.
So let me get to this question. I'll come to you then. Let me get to this question.
Okay.
Do you think, Ron, I'm going to come to you, then we can come around. Do you think, Ron, that part of the problem is the Knicks didn't let this marinate enough from last season, right? They had a good season, and then they made changes to two positions. And maybe the foundation just wasn't strong enough to have it shaken yet. You know what I'm saying? Maybe another season, like it or not, and people would have threw a fit. But maybe another season with the same team would have strengthen the foundation and the mindset and what they want to do before you said, okay, now let's plug some things in. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that maybe that's a big part of the issue, that the foundation just really wasn't strong enough yet?
Yeah, no, I think so. And someone said it in the chat earlier today, or was it a couple days ago? I don't know, but they were like, we definitely should have just ran it back. And I think maybe we should have ran it back. But of course, obviously, you still want to tweak things, and you had the draft picks, so you still could have brought in, Quentin Grimes and a Deuce, and then be able to sprinkle these guys in. But if you want to tell me, compare last year's team, adding a Deuce, adding a Jericho Sims, adding Quentin Grimes to that with Bullock and Payton and the same defensive, I think we would have been a problem. The issue we would have still had is maybe offensively, and some matchups, some teams would have gave us some problems, and we might have had problems trying to score. But our defense would have been so good that we would have kept their offense down and had a good chance to win every game we were in. Yeah, I think we messed up. And I think I said it earlier today, that obviously the Knicks saw the product on the floor. They saw that we were a top defensive team. As a matter of fact, number one in a lot of categories. And they said, you know what? A tweak here, a tweak there shouldn't affect the overall defensive prowess we got out there. But they were wrong, because unfortunately, those two players that we had were so damn good on perimeter defense that they shored up a lot of stuff, and they kept other people in the background, so you didn't see their deficiencies, like Julius Randle. Even though he's he's a really good as far as his shape, he's in great shape. Okay. Right. And so he can move around. He can do a lot of things for a big guy, but you can't expect him to run around with these switches that Thibodeau has, getting from here, double teaming somebody in the paint, getting out to the corner. And if they swing the ball, he's got to get out to the other corner. He's not doing that. So all that stuff is exposed now. And I think we did mess up, Sam. I think you're right. I think that's a question that is valid. I think the Knicks should have probably stood with that same unit and brought in these guys. But you got to be able to. The problem with that is we still run into that same thing with Thibodeau, because that is something that we can't deny. If we would have kept Bullock and kept Payton, those guys would have still been playing a lot of minutes, and maybe we wouldn't even be able to see Quentin Grimes and Deuce McBride or Jericho Sims to help us offensively, with what we got going on.
I think we would have. I don't know. I think we would have, because the only reason why we've seen them this year is because of COVID, right? It's the only reason why we've really seen them this year. And the same thing most likely would have happened. We would have lost some players to COVID, injuries, whatever it is, and they would have had to step in and play. I feel like, and I know people would have griped, and everyone would have been mad. But of course, this is always hindsight. It's all we can do now is, hindsight. But I think they would have had at least another season to just strengthen what they were already doing. Keep that same chemistry, right? Get off the plane in a certain city and go and work out. Just the things that they were doing, a chance to strengthen it, and then say, okay, now let's take out some guys and plug it in, and plug in some new guys. I feel like it just wasn't strong enough. And when they pulled out two pieces, and when they tried to plug them in, it didn't fill the holes exactly. You know what I mean?
Let me say one thing.
Before you say that, Mark, I just wanted to say one quick thing before I forget, because I'm old. I think outside of everything that we did do and didn't do, the biggest mistake we made was letting Bullock go. Bullock has to be the worst mistake we made, because we decided to keep Burks. And even though I like Burks, my issue that I had with Bullock, I didn't even want Bullock when he came to the Knicks, because I wasn't big on Bullock. But one thing I could say about Bullock is the guy knows his defense, and he put people in the right position. Like, he could see what was happening on the other side, from the offensive side of the court, what the other team was trying to do. And so he made guys know, because he was a call-out guy. He put guys in the right situation to play that defense. And nobody else on the Knicks does that, to me.
Yeah. And shout out to Bodega Wi-Fi. He's right, though. He says, Alfred wasn't returning after the toxic fan backlash to his mother. 100%. 100%.
I'm gonna say this, bro.
That's the truth.
Knicks banked on Julius Randle to be as efficient as he can be. Once that don't happen, that this team is what it looks like. Point blank. Period.
I mean, I understand. Okay. I get that. But what I'm saying, hold up. What I'm saying is, if we stuck and ran it back, things might have looked different with the way even Julius Randle was playing with this team. And I know people wouldn't have liked it, right? And I'm not blaming Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker. I'm not blaming those two players. All I'm saying is maybe, the big MAYBE, maybe we jumped the gun a little bit too quick. We should have let it cook just a little bit more. That's all I'm saying. Maybe.
But check this out. If my guy number 30 would have played with a little more inspiration in his game, I think everyone in that starting five would follow. Because if you just look when teams hit us, and we're looking at someone that has a high usage, we're expecting him to see what he's going to do. And you said it in the chat today. I guess if you're gonna hold the ball and you're not gonna make quick passes and stuff. Remember, it's the hierarchy when you're playing basketball.
I get it, but you know what? In the beginning of the season, I think everybody was playing with that inspiration. Hold up. Wait a minute. Chill. Calm down. I think everybody was playing with that inspiration. Started off, winning some games. 20 games into the season, I think we still had that inspiration. But guys weren't hitting shots. The offense still wasn't looking good. They weren't playing well together. And I think they were all playing with that type of inspiration for the first 20 games of the season. But after the first 6 games, the offense didn't look good. And you could see cracks in the team. You know what I'm saying? And this is where I just think now, and I'm not going to say that I thought that at the end of the season. I'm not going to lie to you, but I just think now running it back may have been a better decision, and then, letting it strengthen a little bit. And then make it
with Bullock's situation, he's over in Dallas, and his numbers, all of his numbers is down, and he's on a better team. So I don't think Bullock would have even made a difference the way we're playing.
I disagree. I disagree. I think Bullock actually was the glue to this team. Every player is going to play different on different teams. You can't look at this player and say, well, he's playing this way on this team, so he's going to play the same way or worse over here. You don't know. Every time a player gets to a team, it's different.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? The chemistry changed. Let me get you a phone call. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name, where you're from, please. Caller, you there? I guess not. Go ahead, Mark. Oh, Mark got himself muted. Go ahead, Nate.
So this is what I was talking about when I said that I think there's a disconnect between the front office and the coach, and I'm going to explain myself. So successful teams usually are on the same page with the GM, the coach. They usually, for the most part, are on the same page with acquisitions and all this. So the way I look at it is that this front office know that they need to get some scorers. So they went out and got Evan. They went out and got Kemba because they know this offense needed more juice on the offensive side. The defense was good, top defense, need to get more scoring. The problem is that, in my opinion, I feel that Tibbs is a very vanilla coach when it comes to offense. And you bring in two big pieces that you are trying to mesh with a guy like Julius Randle. I don't think Tibbs has the offensive creativity to be able to make that happen. And that's the problem, is that Tibbs should have just said, you know what, I understand where you guys are coming from, but you know what, Bullock is a better defender. We were top defense. Maybe we bring in one player, but not 2 players, and then let it marinate, like you said, and then you just add as you go. I think you just brought in too much for Tibbs to handle on offense, and now he's like, you just look at his offense. It's very vanilla. compared to a lot of NBA teams you watch play. Not, and I just think that he's over his head when it comes to the offense. He's a defensive-minded dude, and that's fine. That's why we brought him in. But offensively, he's not a guru that's going to be able to fit all these pieces together in like a very short period of time. And now you got a little bit of a mess because now he's got to figure out how to make all three of these players gel together and still give others opportunities.
Yeah. Let me get the wrong. And I see someone in the chat say, you're supposed to upgrade, not stay the same. Yeah, you are supposed to upgrade. Sometimes part of upgrading is staying the same until you're ready to upgrade. Sometimes that's the way that you got to do it. Sometimes that's the way that you keep yourself strong, keep yourself relevant. You know what I'm saying? That's the way you got to do it sometimes. Sometimes you stick with what you got until you can go get what you really want and not settle for something that maybe you don't want. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's how you got to do it. Ron, go ahead, Ron.
Let me get on my Josh real quick. So Beats by Franks. You obviously don't like what I'm saying currently about Bullock and how it affected the team. And this is Ron from Still Knick Fans, so you know where to find me and where you can hate on me. If you understand basketball, you understand that we're looking at the Knicks from a deeper point right here. This is not just about, hey, I don't like this player. He's not playing well. Why doesn't the coach play this guy? We're past that. Right now we stink, okay? We have issues and we have a lot of dysfunction. Our team has been buttoned up. We don't find out anything about what they're trying to do. Now, all of a sudden, we're finding out all these little leaks are coming out. There's stuff going on right now, okay? So when we're talking about the Knicks, we're looking at it from different points. So I'm telling you right now, the Knicks played much better basketball last year defensively with Reggie Bullock. And Reggie Bullock was not just a really good defensive player. He was a quarterback for that defense, okay? He put people in the right positions. And if you're saying, oh, well, Reggie Bullock is playing like crap in Dallas, let me explain something to you. When I was young and in high school, I tried out for my varsity basketball team. Coach didn't know nothing about me. He already had the people he liked. He was the Thibodeau of my school, okay? So he put me on JV. JV gave me no burn. I'm one of the tallest players on the team, but for whatever reason, they had their stars that they liked. So guess what I did? I said, you know what? I'm not playing for them anymore. And I decided to join a local team that had AU ties. I played with them. They gave me burn. And I got recruited for a team to go play in Atlanta. I didn't go for financial reasons, but that's neither here nor there. The point that I'm trying to make is I was in one situation. I didn't get the looks. It didn't work out for me. I went somewhere else, and it worked out better for me. Same with Reggie Bullock. Reggie Bullock was doing well with the Knicks. Yeah, he was up and down, but we knew what we had in him, and he helped us for what Thibodeau likes. You put him in Dallas, it's a different situation. Maybe he's not comfortable. Maybe he loved being a part of the Knicks. It's just not a good fit. So you can't just say just because a guy is not playing well in one spot. Remember, we got Reggie Bullock from somewhere else where he was playing well. That's why we got him. Just watch a little bit more basketball, be a little bit more well-rounded, and open up your eyes to everything that's going on. That's all I'm saying.
Go ahead, Josh.
So, Sam, I'm going to answer your question specifically in regards to whether we should have ran it back. So I think the big thing that's missing in this whole thing was a lot of those guys that we bought back and that we could have bought back, they were expiring contracts. I think that's the issue that people are forgetting about that. I understand what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with the premise of maybe if we would have kept Bullock or Elfrid Payton, the team would probably, be in a better situation or whatever. I'm not going to completely disagree with that. But I think, we bought back most of the guys back from last year. The team is basically the same with the exception of 2 players, right? Now, if you want to make the argument that we didn't keep the right player on the team, I think that's a different argument. But to say that, the front office didn't try to run it back with the majority of the team that they had last year, I think they did. It's just that, we're missing one of those guys who was a key contributor to the team, right? So I think they did do that, and I just don't think it's working out right now with Fournier and Kemba. Like the pieces kind of don't fit in that aspect of it. But everyone was saying that they're upgrades, right? They're upgrades over what we had last season. It's just not working out right now.
But that's why I'm saying it's hindsight. We're doing this in hindsight, looking at it in hindsight. You know what I mean? Let me get to this caller here. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Yo, since this is Isaac from Tuxedo.
Isaac, what's going on with you, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm about to ball myself, actually.
Okay. All right.
But I hear you talking about running it back. I mean, look, I'm going to be objective because you know how I feel already. I want Randle up out of there, I want Tibbs up out of there. That's just how I feel. Nothing could change my mind. But as far as running it back, I did feel last year we needed to make a change. And the reason why I thought that we needed to make a change, I didn't know where it was going to come. Obviously, we know a point guard. But I knew we needed to make a change because I said, if they're going to sign Julius, if they're really going to put their trust in Julius, I feel like they need to put him in the best position to succeed and to give him a better team so we could really see who he is. Because we've seen what he did with, we had, I won't call it a bad team, but they weren't the most talented team last year. Even though we made it to the 4th spot, that was based off of hard work and playing defense. So I do think that we needed to upgrade. Now, did we get the right upgrades? Apparently, it doesn't seem like it necessarily fits right now. I did say at the beginning of the year that Evan Fournier and having Kemba would be a slight upgrade. I didn't say we were going to be world beaters, but I did think it was going to be a decent upgrade. Evan Fournier has been a solid player for the Mavericks. I know he's got his defensive deficiencies, but he could score. So I expected us to be better on offense, but better on offense enough to where we could be in that 6 seed range, 6, 7 seed. But I agree with what my man said earlier. I don't really think Tibbs is the right coach to try to put that together on the offensive end, and that's the problem. I don't know what's going on again between this front office and Tibbs. They're supposed to be friends, Leon Rose and Tibbs, right? But it seems like he keeps getting players that Tibbs don't really want or don't really fit the way that Tibbs wants to play. So, I don't think we should have ran it back necessarily, but you did make a good point, and I can't argue with you on that as far as upgrade might be just waiting a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I felt like with the timing that they needed to give Julius something to really see what he could be because we saw him, flame out in the playoffs. But if you gave him a better team, what could he be now in the playoffs? You know what I mean?
Listen, I dig everything you're saying. I think is correct. Right? Because I thought the same way. I'm like, you know what? We seen what we did. If we add the right 2 players in these 2 spots and upgrade these spots, we're going to be a better basketball team. You know what I'm saying? I was on board with everybody else. I'm just saying now that I look back, I'm thinking like, man, maybe just that foundation just wasn't strong enough yet. It needed a little bit more time, for RJ and Mitch and Randle to knowing that you were probably going to replace those 2 guys in that lineup, just a little bit more time to make it stronger, make it more solid. You know what I'm saying? Before you start
like maybe for me, like maybe you keep Fournier, but Elfrid Payton definitely had to go. Keep Bullock, but Elfrid Payton, man. Elfrid Payton's name is like a cuss word to me. You know what I mean? Like you don't mention that. You don't say that at the dinner table.
I think what you're saying.
That dude was atrocious.
I think exactly what you're saying, but clearly we were better last year. You know what I'm saying?
No, we did play better last year as a team. I also do think that last year though was a little bit of an aberration, man. Like that was the COVID year and everything. So I think our seeding was a little bit misplaced.
But
But we definitely played better as a team.
But I think that's even another reason why you run it back.
To see what it's about, huh?
If it's an aberration. Now, in hindsight, I'm looking in hindsight, right? Obviously. But to see if it's an aberration. So if you run it back and then now all of a sudden this year you're like really, really bad, you're like, okay, that was an aberration because of everything that was going on. You know what I'm saying? Now you have a little bit more clarity to move forward. You know what I'm saying?
But not Elfrid though, man. Not Elfrid though.
I'm just saying.
Just not him. But I'm with you on the Bullock thing. We can keep Keep Elfrid on the bench, man. Get me another guard to where I don't really have to see Elfrid, man.
Hey, I'm just saying. If the Knicks would have just if they would have ran it back with the same squad, then they would have looked and said, you know what? We wasn't as good as we thought. Now let's do whatever. But, it's neither here nor there now. It's all Monday morning quarterback now.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. My last thing, and I'll let y'all be, is So what is the feeling of the majority here? Like, is it more well, I'll say this real quick before then. I like Julius, actually. I think Julius is decent. Now, he's having a bad year, and I do want him up out of there. But the reason why I want him up out of there is because I think Tom Thibodeau has gave him too much power because he used him as a number one. And now I don't think Julius could fall back to necessarily being a role player within the system. Honestly, I think that we have the team that needs to play like the Detroit Pistons in 2004. We don't need a number one guy. Everybody keeps talking about RJ, the number one guy. We don't necessarily need that to be the case because this team clearly does not have a number one talented superstar on this team. We need to move the ball. Everybody needs to play together. If RJ has a hot hand one night, he could keep going. If Julius does, he could keep going. But they need to feed each other and work together, man, just like that Pistons team.
I agree with
so
you
for me,
100%.
my question is it who's first on the chopping block? I know realistically who it may be, but who would y'all want to see first on the chopping block? Would you want to see more of a change at the coaching position to see if we could get this team to click somewhat with Julius? Or would you rather see Julius go to another destination and let's try to figure out something else?
Yeah, I mean, right now it looks like most people want to see. I'm not sure what I want to see yet, to be honest with you. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I think most people want to see Julius go to another destination.
See, and I'm okay with keeping Julius if you could guarantee me that you could get him to buy into a team system and not be thinking he's the guy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but that's going to be on the coaching staff and their system, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So for me, that's why Tim's first to go.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know what I mean? So I wanted to know how y'all felt, but for me, I'm like Tibbs could go, and I'll try it with Julius, especially if I can't find the right deal right now. We heard they'll move him if it's the right deal. If I can't find the right deal right now, I'm moving on from Tibbs.
Hey,
because I don't think Tibbs plays him right anyway. So.
Randle, I think he's going to be here for at least the remainder of this season. They're not moving him at the trade deadline, in my opinion. His stock is too low, and the team is going to straight up try to fleece the Knicks. Stock is too low right now with everything that's going on. In my opinion, you're going to lose a lot if you really, unless you can find some way to do a 3 or 4 team trade so that you're getting a nice return back. I think you're going to lose. You're going to lose a lot because you're probably going to have to give up a young player and a draft pick at this point because of the way everything is going down. But, hey, my man, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for the insight.
Thank you, man. Appreciate y'all. Keep doing your thing.
No doubt. Peace.
Sam, what do the fans think they're going to get for Julius Randle? Did you see what Houston got for Harden? And Harden's a better way. What do people think they're going to get for Randle?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what people think they might get at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Look how hard it is for Ben Simmons to get traded off of Philly.
They're not gonna be able to see you.
What's up, Mama?
Everybody going.
Yeah. That's what we're doing.
Look how uncomfortable Simmons. Do it.
What'd you say?
He's like.
They trying to do.
Happy birthday.
I can't hear y'all. I put it on mute.
Happy birthday.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Mark. I don't even know what you're saying. Go ahead.
Stop acting stiff, Stim. Stop acting stiff.
What I'm saying is, bro, Randall's here for the time being, bro. I'm not even looking to trade him because if y'all think you're gonna get something better than him, y'all got something up your behind. Because look how hard it is for them to trade Ben Simmons, and look what James Harden was taken for. Randall's not in a facility to even be talking about we get a Darren Fox for him. No. You're not gonna get nothing. So at this moment of time, the best thing the Knicks are gonna do is get rid of Fournier and Kemba, the 2 weakest links what I did not want because I knew what I was going to get. And Alex Burke too, he can go. Other than that, Randall is staying. He ain't going nowhere. They put the money in his wallet, and he's playing abominable right now. and he don't have the mindset that team's gonna want for their team. Y'all don't understand his mindset. His mindset stinks. That's what's wrong with the Knicks. If your best player mindset feel like when I'm not going, it's like when I'm not going, the rest of the team ain't gonna go because if I don't get if I'm not playing up to par.
I actually don't think that's the mindset. I mean, we've literally seen Julius Randle not want to shoot the ball and look for somebody else every time he has the ball.
His mindset stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
I think Julius Randle is
the big problem. Even if we had Bullock, we was expecting at least I told him, Randle, all you have to do is be effective. You didn't have to score 24 points.
Julius Randle might be disgruntled.
Yeah.
I don't think he's disgruntled, just disgruntled about his situation right now. Disgruntled, obviously, clearly, he's disgruntled. He's not happy about his situation. I'm not talking about the Knicks, just what's going on with him, the fans, whatever. He's a disgruntled person.
So for me, that's checking out. That's checking out.
Okay, but what I'm saying is I don't think he has the mindset, if I'm not getting mine, nobody else is getting theirs. I don't think that's that at all. We've literally seen him not shoot the ball and not know when to shoot the ball. I think the dude is confused about how to play basketball right now.
Well, listen,
bottom line. Let me
get
to Isaiah. Isaiah, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, son? First and foremost, man, I just want to say happy birthday to my big bro, one of my mentors, one of my favorite people, man. Happy birthday, man. I appreciate you so much, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And let's can we please get them likes up for Lee Sims' birthday? Can we get them likes up? Come on, people. It's Simeon Russell's birthday. Get them likes up, man. Shout out to Mark. Shout out to everybody on the panel, man. Yeah, I mean, you know what, Sim? It's kind of funny, Sim. You know, last year was Alfred Payton. This year's Julius Randle. So, you know.
It's going to be somebody else next year. As soon as Julius Randle's gone, I don't know who's going to be. It's going to be somebody. It's going to be, you know, if Alec Burks is on the team, it's going to be Alec Burks.
It's going to be all next year in the beginning of the season. It'll start. But, no, man, look. This team, we need something, man, because right now just looking downhill. Tonight we got to face the Bucks, and to me, if this is one game to get Randle's mental back, this is the worst game to get it back from, with the Defensive Player of the Year guarding him. So that's gonna be fun tonight. Look, man, I honestly think that Thibs will be here way before Randle leaves. Thibs will be here before Randle leaves. I personally have Thibs over Randle, you know, and then finally get him his quote unquote Thib guys on the team. But I don't know, Sam. I do agree with Mark though. It's hard to play when your leader is just. And I'm not saying Randle, and I do agree with you too, Sim. I do agree with you that Randle is not saying, "Oh, if I'm not gonna get mines, nobody gonna get it." No, that's not the case. Because like he defers to RJ and stuff. But I will agree that, you know, his body language, and we've been saying this since last year. His body language has been. I mean, Mark has been saying it for over a while now. That, you know, Randle's body language has been bad, and, you know, just his attitude towards the game. Well, not towards the game, but just his attitude during the game is just. It just to me is infectious. And it just, to me, your leader on a basketball team shouldn't be like that. Again, everybody's not going to be Steph Curry. They're not all going to be hype when they see their players do good or always, you know, just doing that. That kind of goes down to personality more than anything. But, yeah, man, we just got to figure some things out because, again, this stretch of basketball, we talked about it before. If we don't change or if we don't find out, and I don't think we're going to find out the lineup change until like maybe 9:30 tonight. But if something don't change, man, it's well, we're gonna be looking at March Madness a lot harder.
We're gonna start breaking down potential draft picks. Let me get to this phone call. Let me get to this phone call and then get to a couple of super chats. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Hey, my name's Kaleem from North Carolina by way of Staten Island.
What's going on, Kaleem? How you feeling, man?
Oh, I'm good, Sin. Happy birthday, by the way.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So yeah, man. So you guys were talking about earlier about like running it back, and I guess my question is, do you think that like the fan base would have accepted running it back, considering like a lot of the players that we had kind of didn't show up in the playoffs, like Bullock and Elfrid Payton?
The fan base would have been heated. They would have been livid. It's no doubts. There's no two ways about it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I also think that the front office can't base their decisions on the fan base, and if the fan base is going to be livid at a decision that they did or did not make, they just got to make the decision that they think is in the best interest of the team. And I'm not sitting here acting like I had a crystal ball and knew, you know what I'm saying? Because I was on board with making changes as well. You know what I'm saying? But you can't, you just got to look at, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to make these changes and then make them and not worry about if the fan base is going to get mad or upset, and hope that whatever decisions you decided to make are successful and the fan base is happy. You know what I'm saying? Because, I see people in the chat, acting like, we're talking about sticking with these guys forever. That's not even close. It's basically just saying, run it back just to build that foundation a little bit stronger. And now, as the other caller brought up, see if it was an aberration or not. You know what I'm saying? And then make some of the decisions going from there. But of course, again, hindsight's 20/20. It's all hindsight. It's all looking back. You make a decision and then you live with it. And hopefully this front office is smart enough or strong enough to admit when they made a mistake and move on from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. But hey, my man, Kaleem, I appreciate your time. Thank you for your call.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Let me get to a couple of super chats here. Let me see who we got. Who am I coming to first? I'm gonna do this in the order of which I saved them. I don't even know who's first. But Neville Humphrey said, Josh, this coach has a notorious reputation that preceded him, and it is happening again. And if we hold on to this coach, he will only do more damage.
Curious as to what reputation is he talking about playing guys into the ground? Julius Randle and RJ Barrett get, the most minutes on the team. I think they're the most durable on the team as well. So what reputation are you talking about?
I mean, I think that's the reputation he's talking about, running guys, playing guys a lot of minutes, heavy minutes, probably that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think that's...
Yeah. Kaiser Souls, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. He said Randle accepts the double team instead of getting the ball out of his hands before it closes. He doesn't accept that he's not AD. He's 6'8", not 7 foot, and he's not shooting over double teams at a high rate. He's definitely not shooting. I mean, I don't even know if he ever tries to shoot over double teams. I don't think he has. I don't think he trusts his own mid-range jump shot to try to shoot over double teams like that. And that's a big portion of why Julius Randle can get doubled the way that he does. His mid-range jump shot is just not strong enough to be able to step out where he can actually turn and face. Because when you turn and face, there's a less likely chance that double team is coming. And when you do turn and face and that double team comes, now you can really see where it's coming from.
You
right?
can see.
You can see. So you can make the right decision a little quicker. Julius Randle just doesn't have a strong enough mid-range jump shot, though, where he's able to consistently step out, jab, pull. You know what I'm saying? And that, really does hurt his game. But yeah, Kaiser Souls, I agree with you. Ayub Matan said we benched Peyton during the playoffs for a reason. You're right. It didn't work, but you're right. Kaiser Souls again, he said, as for Tibbs, why is Taj on the floor over a specimen like Sims? Why isn't Grimes starting when he's hitting shots and playing great defense? I agree about Grimes. Sims, I haven't seen enough to know if he can do the things that I think Tom Thibodeau wants him to do. Grimes, I think he should be starting.
Every day.
I think he should be starting.
I like when he fouls because it shows that he's putting pressure. Like when you watch him, he's putting pressure. That's what you need to do on the perimeter so guys won't shoot threes, or they will think about him because he's right there every time. So they won't shoot threes. This team is losing by threes every night.
Yeah, no doubt. Kaiser Souls again, thank you. Appreciate you, man. He said the veterans have played poor the whole season with no effort. The bench unit has had to bail out the starters the entire season. We've seen it. No lies told. They have. You know what I mean? They've had to bail people out. He said Bullock and Kaiser Souls again. He said Bullock and Payton are mediocre players. What are you talking about? What you're talking about is stagnation, keeping trash players and overpaying them just to keep Randle happy. For me, that's not to keep Randle happy. Really is just to strengthen the foundation. I agree. They're mediocre players. We're not talking about keeping those players forever, you know what I'm saying, and trying to win a championship with those players. For me, as I look back in hindsight, it's more about strengthening the foundation, strengthening, what you built, and then say, okay, let me try to tweak some things out. Let me make some moves now because I feel it's a little bit stronger. But obviously, I was on board with moving those guys too. Well, I wanted to keep Reggie Bullock. I was on board with moving Elfrid Payton too. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely wanted to keep Reggie Bullock. And John, still Knicks fans, thank you for the super chat. He said, happy born day, Sim, the godfather of the New York Knicks podcasting. Blessings, my brother. Please smash that like button. John, thank you. I appreciate you and all your support. Appreciate everybody's support. My man Julito's out there. Thank you. I appreciate you, Julito, man. I seen him hit me up with a, happy birthday. I appreciate you, my brother. And everybody, I can't call it everybody, but everybody that's out there wishing me a happy birthday, I thank you very, very much.
Julio be having a mental breakdown. He look worse than me. I've been all right. Julio's going through it, bro. Yo, Julio, keep your head up, bro. Should have seen it coming.
Oh, man. I don't know, man. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks take on the Milwaukee Bucks. Has the potential to be a nasty one out there. I want to get around and get everybody's predictions on tonight's game. I don't know, man. Talk to me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Game Day pregame show. Please make sure you go to thegameday.com for all of your updated sports content and betting odds. You can check out betting odds from everybody from Caesars to FanDuel to DraftKings, BetMGM, all over the place. Just make sure you go check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Predictions for tonight. Josh, I'm going to start with you.
I'm going to say that the game is going to come down to just like the last 3 games where it was like 112 to like 100 or so. I'm going to say it's going to go in Milwaukee's favor. I just think Milwaukee has too much firepower for us. I think we'll put up a good effort, and I think Milwaukee will pull away late. 112, 100, Milwaukee. By the way, in accordance with the Game Day, the Knicks are 9-point dogs tonight, so I think Milwaukee will cover.
Okay. All right. Ron?
I'm thinking that the Knicks actually do something wild. I think McBride actually sees the court tonight. I think Tibbs might shake up the rotation a little bit. And I think you see a really good basketball game from Julius Randle because, you know what, outside of everything else that's going on, Julius needs to show not only the fans, but the NBA that he's still that dude. And I hope he does what we expect of a guy of his stature. He uses all of this and puts it out there on the court and gets a good game going. So I think the Knicks win tonight. I don't know the score. Can't predict it. But I think the Knicks pull off an upset tonight and do the Heckle and Jekyll Knicks type of stuff that we always used to seeing. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they good, bad? I don't know.
Right.
I just think they're going to do something special tonight and somehow pull out this victory.
It would be nice. Would be really nice. Mark?
Well, I like structure because structure helps your life a little much better. Now with this team, I watch them as what they show on the floor. And like I said, from game 20, it's the same thing. No, everybody's inconsistent. It's hard to get a grasp on what this team is like, or just the way they're playing. It's just they'll do good, and then when they get hit, they just this team. Listen, whatever they put out tonight is what we get. Period. It's 50 games already. It's almost the end of the season, man. Whatever they give us is what we can enjoy. And if they don't, we come on here and act a fool. That's it, man. That's it. Ain't nothing positive about this team. 50 games in, and we're still worried. We still acting for at least a 3-game winning streak. We can't really get that. So come on, how can you be positive when players are not listening to the coach? Because my whole thing is, Sim, it is not the offense, bro. Because guys are getting open shots. When people say Tibbs, no, it ain't. The only thing I can say with Tibbs, Sim, he has to come down on Julius, that 12 minute, having played throughout the first quarter.
Gosh,
he needs to stop that.
I agree. I mean, give him 6-7 minutes at the most.
Oh my God!
You know
Give him 7. Then let Obi come with that energy. Now, if Obi's not playing good, you have Julius Randle come into the second round. But Julius Randle cannot play these 38 minutes. He gets tired. RJ shouldn't be playing that either because it hurts the defense because, again, with the back doors, with his lateral movement, he's not good at that. So you have to keep him as fresh as possible. Tibbs need to chill out. That's one thing. And his rotations. Listen, man, I know people crapping on Obi about he can't do this, he can't do that. But what he has done this season is more than enough to be impactful for this team. Because guess what? He's 1-2 for what this team, as we are right now, he's helped considerably for what he can do until he gets more years and more minutes. That kid is doing what he possibly can in the minutes that he gets. Of course, he's going to make mistakes. He's a second-year player. So what? But his good far outweighs his bad when he's on the floor. Because you know what I get from him? Pure energy. Don't give up. He plays with force. Yeah, he might not post up, but that's not his game. Tibbs have him in the corner. I hate when he does that. But the dude plays with an energy that this team is lacking, that starting five has been lacking. Yeah. And Grimes, he needs to start over Fournier because if Fournier ain't going in the first quarter, I don't even care to see him for the rest of the game. Quickly, it's, he has some games where it's like he takes these shots that I don't like, and he has some games where he looks good. So he's a wild card. Burks, last 3 games, 0 points. I don't really care for him. I didn't even want him here. Noels, we can't find him. We paid him $30 million. Mitchell Robinson, he's been good against non-great centers. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get from him. But Julius Randle have to figure it out. That's what all-stars do. It don't take 20, 30 games to figure it out. Boy, get your mind right, man. Get your mind right. You have a family, you get your mind right for your family, so you got to get your mind right for your team. No excuses. That's the way of life. I wish I could get paid $117 playing in New York. You think I won't get my mind right? You kidding me? Come on, man. Stop the excuses. People need to play with heart, man.
Okay.
Energy sucks.
Isaiah?
You want me to go after that?
Yeah, man.
I'm the show, Sam. Just have a great birthday and end the show, man. I had to get it off. I haven't been here for me. I had to get it off, man, so people can understand what's going on. I don't want to blame Randle. Yo, honestly, I've been watching Randle. I didn't want to really blame him because I knew what my foresight is God-given. I knew what was happening. So, listen, bro, you have to at least play with energy. I don't care if you score 28 points, but make yourself feel like you want to be part of the team and stop being lethargic. Energy for me is everything because everything you put out, you get. So if you ain't putting out, I'm going to hate.
Hey, son, to be honest with you, I don't want to go. I really don't want to go after that. I'm going to just say it's your birthday. I want the Knicks to win. That's it. I don't want to go after Mark.
All right, no doubt.
Happy birthday, man.
Okay, no doubt. I get it. I get it. Shout out to Antonio. He said if Obi plays less than 15 minutes, Tibbs is a lunatic. And then shout out to my wife. She said, here's some birthday change, my love. $1.99.
$2.
I mean, you gonna give me some birthday change? Throw a 5 up in there, some. Come on.
What? $2?
Hey, man. Look, she can't spend all your money.
Yeah,
man. She spent it on some of that cake. I want some cake.
Send my own money back to me. Basically, just giving a piece of it to you two. What's going on? I'm out of here, ladies. See? Peace, ladies and gentlemen. We'll catch you guys tonight. I was about to say 10:15. I don't know, 1 a.m., whatever time is going to be.
Go to
Just
bed. You don't need to do the after show. Go to bed, bro.
Peace.
This is MBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.